Earth, a planet billions of years old, the only thriving rock in the solar system. It spent those billions of years cultivating life of all kinds, progressing through the ages to develop more advanced creatures. All of those beings lived within the means of the environment and helped others evolve as well. The circle of life was always rotating, keeping the natural world balanced. No beings dared to disrupt the equilibrium that Mother Earth had created. That is, until humanity developed. At first, they seemed like any other species. They ate what they needed to survive and were occasionally eaten themselves. But the world changed as humanity evolved. Greed took over for need, and the industrialization began to choke the very nature that the Earth had spent so many millennia creating. Oceans were choked with trash. Fields were paved over to make room for motorways. Forests were chopped down for housing developments. As time passed, it became obvious to even the humans themselves that the Earth was dying. Yet they did not change their ways. In the modern era, few native orchards in North America stood. They were few and far between, yet most did not relish them with the same regard as they did the mighty redwoods. Crabapples were sour, after all. No one cared for uneaten fruit. The orchard, nestled in the base of the valley, stood strong and stoic through the years. She had a peaceful existence there, basking in the sun, enjoying a soft breeze and the occasional shower. She was constantly at peace with her companions, breathing easy. Yet one day a deep breath brought hot ash into her lungs. The irritant caused her discomfort, bringing about a coughing fit as she forced herself to sit upright. Hands lifted to rub at her eyes. She could no longer hear the rustling of leaves. What was happening? Her bright green eyes finally opened as she cleared her throat, mouth dropping wide in disbelief. The orchard she had called home for hundreds of years no longer stood around her. Acres of trees had been destroyed in a matter of hours. All that remained of her family were piles of ash. Hello? She winced as her voice left her lips, raspy from the hot soot she had inhaled. Had anyone else survived? Her footsteps landed quietly in the piles of ash, burning the bottoms of her feet as she began to roam through the wreckage. The pain was nothing compared to the ache in her heart. She knew what she would find, or what she wouldn't, but she needed to see it for herself. From a perch at the top of the valley, she could see that none of the other trees had survived the inferno. Her orchard, even the forests surrounding it, were now merely cleared fields. It was only here, upon the mountaintop, that the weight of the disaster began to set in. The spirit of the orchard fell to her knees, tears welling up in her eyes. As much as she tried to hold them back, they quickly spilled over, flowing down her cheeks in a steady stream. The trees she had spent several lifetimes protecting were gone. The forest was empty. The woodland creatures had fled. There was nothing left for her here. She swiped her cheeks with her hands as she forced herself to stand, pulling herself together with a shake of her head. Her orchard was gone, yes, but there were others still standing that could use her help. With this new form, there was surely something she could do to keep this from happening again. There had to be.